The Cubs continued their winning ways over the weekend. We talk about that, preview the Red Series, and get into some trade wins right now.
You are Locked On Cubs, your daily Chicago Cubs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are Locked On Cubs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Alongside Sam Olber, I'm Matt Cozy. Please support the show by following on your preferred audio platform, and you can watch, subscribe, and leave a comment on YouTube. Thanks so much for making us your first listen. Sam and I are lifelong fans, taking our passion into discussion with you on all things Cubs. Great time to be with you here on a Monday episode as the Cubs surge continues. Winners of 8 straight games before losing 3-0 to the Cardinals on Sunday. The Northsiders won 3-2 Friday and 5-1 Saturday. We'll get into those games as well. Cubs now 53-52 on the season, 4 games back of first place in the NL Central, and 3.5 games back of the third wild card spot. Cubs are 27-16 since June 9th. Very dramatic victory on Friday. Jameson Taillon went 6 strong Saturday, and the Cubs played well, including Kyle Hendricks pitching well Sunday, but could not muster any offense as they continue to excel right now, and they're in a great spot, Sam, despite all the ups and downs of the 2023 season.
Yeah, I think this show, this specific episode's really, it's a twofold episode, right? It's the first part of the show, and, you know, not literally, but one part of it is, you know, feeling and seeing that this team has gotten here and appreciating it and almost celebrating that it is early August starting Tuesday, right?
Yep.
And they are going to be playing a 4-game series against the first place team in the division that they're trailing by 4 games, and basically have it in their own hands to put a stranglehold on this thing and give themselves a chance the rest of the way. Yeah. And then the other part of it is, okay, now that they are in that spot, now that they have gone 5-1 in this week, where we were hoping for 4-2, and now that they had won 8 straight games against 2 of your 3 biggest rivals, the Southside Club and the Cardinals, you know, what now? What do they have to do now? What do they have to do at the deadline? What type of roster construction do they need to do in order to maintain this? Because the reality is they just busted their butt to get to, what was it? I think, are they 11-5 since the break? I think that's the right number. Yep. So that's phenomenal. And you cut 3 games from your division lead and about 3.5 from the wild card. Now you have to have another 11-5 stretch, or maybe a 9-7 and then followed by another 11-5. My point is you have to now play sustained good baseball, because the margin of error, you can't have a bad stretch. So it's those two things hand in hand of, hey, I can't believe we just got here, because I truly can't, by the way. I really can't. Like, this is crazy. Wow. And now, okay, we're here. Now what? Mm-hmm. So as far as the weekend goes, the highlights, I thought Friday night was the most exciting Cubs game in 5 years.
Yep.
Between blowing opportunities in the 8th and 9th to extend the lead, then a crazy double play in the 9th, and then, Mike Talkman. I'm going to call him, Mr. 2023, because, you have Mr. October. I mean, he is, every time it feels like he's up defensively or offensively in a big moment, he comes through, and that was huge. And then the other thing I think we got to probably do a good job of is, me more than you have been kind of frustrated lately with Stroman and how bad he's been lately. Well, the exact opposite's happening with Taillon.
Yes, big time.
And
since that Friday start against the Yankees, he's been great.
And you give credit to a guy like that, because it's not easy, to bounce back like that. And I'm at the point now when he pitches, I don't feel horrible about the game. And again, It goes back to what we were talking about with him. there was a massive, almost eye-rolling bad luck part of it. Because, like, you look at Saturday, he walked a bunch of guys and just kind of things went his way. So it's evening out a little bit for him. And then, yes, Sunday's game, something's going on, as I said, with the broadcast with Matz. He's figured something out and has been dominant. And I thought Hendricks was really good. 7 solid innings.
It was, yeah.
And now you set yourself up for the biggest series, and outside of the 2020, 2-game embarrassment against the Marlins, the biggest series that this team's had in a really long time by their standards lately. And I can't wait to see Wrigley. I can't wait to see the fans. I can't wait to see the atmosphere. And you're playing a team that came into your building on Memorial Day weekend and just kicked the you-know-what out of you. And you owe them one. And it's going to be fun.
And that feels like a generation ago, which makes sense because this has just been so many ups and downs. So excited for the Cubs to be in this spot. Just very elated right now at a time of year where I have so many good memories as a baseball fan, especially as a Cubs fan.
Right.
A year ago, we were not even a month into taking over the show. Took over the show. The Cubs were already out of it.
Right.
And it looked like 2 years in a row, they were going to be in that spot. The narrative was going to be one of curiosity, but mostly negative, and mostly the current big league club are a losing club. And the way that they've turned this thing around since June 9th, we're really in the second half, and really in that Tuesday game in which the Nationals imploded and the Cubs put up 2 touchdowns and a FG. To go from 3-1 trailing to a 17-3 victory. That really,
Friday game too.
Yeah, then the Friday game is ridiculous. I mean, I'm at a point where, and I haven't revealed this to you yet, I was saving it for the show, that I was watching the Cubs game during an attendance of a movie. And I saw Mike Tauchman rob a home run during Oppenheimer. That's how invested in this team I am. I had plans for a while to see this film, which, by the way, is an overrated picture. But that's not this type of show. But when Mike Tauchman made that catch,
word, by the way, picture,
I did my best silent celebration I could.
Oh, I would have got kicked out.
I was in the back row with Kaz like this, dude.
I would have got kicked out.
I mean,
wouldn't be my first
time.
And then Tyone,
the Cubs are fortunate that Tyone's impressions have basically X'd out Stroman's struggles.
Exactly.
Because if that didn't happen, guess what? They wouldn't be in this spot. And Tyone was a problem for this team, and now he's not. Amazing. Because he was getting shelled, and he had some unlucky runs. So there is still some flaws with this club. There's still some people that could start instead of others. Of course, there's additions this team could awesomely now make, which we'll get to later. But I'm feeling really good, even despite Sunday's goose egg. It's going to happen. It's baseball.
Sure.
You ran into a good pitcher.
It's about bouncing back now.
So all's good right now, dude.
Jameson Tyone.
Let's trade for Lofton and Aram again.
Cubs record during his starts in the month of July, 4-1, ERA 2.67.
Silly times.
Pretty cool. Yeah, look, the last thing I'll say before we talk about the Red Leg series is
a couple things, I think, right? Positionally.
Oh, yeah. You got to bounce back after like it's not like one of these things. I didn't expect a 15-game win streak. I want to see like a long sustained, and to be fair, since June 9th they have, and they need to keep that going. And if they do, they'll catch these guys. Here's 2 things I want to mention, Matt, in terms of this part of the show now, where we answer the question, now what?
Great.
We'll talk trades later. Here are 2 things with the current roster, I think, starting Monday night, and it won't happen. I know that. I know it won't happen, but I'm going to say it anyway. Starting Monday night, these 2 things I think need to happen. Number 1, and I'm just going to say it, and I'm going to move on from it because I think I've given him probably a lot of grief on this show. Trey Mancini should not play anymore.
He probably shouldn't be on the roster.
Even if you don't even add another bat, you could just put Bellinger at first and Tauchman in center against lefties. He is all he does is hit against lefties, Mancini, and he is OPSing like 630 versus them. So no more needs to be said. I'm sorry.
Yeah. The evidence is clear there, and I actually think, Sam, they might put Talkman out there on Monday.
The next thing I want to say is that I think Seiya Suzuki needs to be moved down in the order significantly. He had a miserable month of June. July was better, but the slug is still low. And the thing with Seiya is, unlike the guy I'm about to mention, I'm just not seeing any signs. It's different things. At first, it was he's crushing the ball on the ground. Then it's always too passive. Now he just doesn't have a plan. He's in his head. I still think, especially because he's playing a pretty good defense of right field, I still think he could help this team. I'd like to see him just hit like the 6th or 7th hole, regardless of who is pitching. He hits 2 against lefties. Against lefties, I'd rather see a Talkman, go Horner, go Bellinger, go Jan, go Dansby, go Ian. That's 6 guys you could hit ahead of him
What happened to Dansby in the 2-hole?
Yeah, they've moved him way down for some reason. I'd like to see Seiya just down in the order and just say, hey, we're in a pennant race right now, and we just want you to help us. That breakout we're hoping for, maybe that comes in 24. And the last thing I'll say is that we know that the odds say Cody Bellinger isn't going to hit over 400 in the month of August. So somebody else is going to have to step up. I said this Friday, Ian Happ's starting to show signs. I'm starting to like what I see. Monday night might not be a great example because he's hitting righty against an elite pitcher. But just this week, long opposite field home run against the Sox, long homer against Wainwright, a double in the right center field gap, all balls in the air. That could be your ticket to, hey, how are they going to replace this production if Cody Bellinger becomes human again?
That'd be great. That'd be great. So that's things to be on the lookout moving forward. And starting Monday, the Cubs play the Reds. We're going to preview that series right after this. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Take your first swing at betting MLB on FanDuel and get 10 times your first bet amount in bonus bets, up to $200. That's right. Just bet $20 and you'll land $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. That's $200 you can spend betting everything from the money line to the over-under to you think is going to hit the first homer. It's all in an app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. Plus, when you win, you can get paid instantly. There's no better place to bet on Major League Baseball than FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. So sign up today and visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get up to $200 in bonus bets. That's FanDuel.com/lockedon. FanDuel, the official partner of the Locked On Podcast Network. The Cubs play the Reds at 7:05 p.m. Central Monday, and you can listen to every pitch with the Cubs hometown broadcast on SiriusXM. On the SXM app, search Cubs or tune into channel 844 and catch the Cubs all season long on SiriusXM. Biggest series in several years. Starting Monday, Cubs, Reds, a 4-gamer, all 4 games at 7:05.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm just focused on this series right now because you have 3 games with one of the better teams of the sport this weekend with the Braves. So I don't know if I'm even going to do a weekly record goal right now. I'm really just sticking to the Reds series.
Yeah.
And it's going to be Stroman, Abbott, Steele, Lively, Smiley Williamson, and Tyone Weaver, which I have to say, besides Abbott on Monday, is quite underwhelming for the Red starters. But that's been their story this year. They've been great offensively and paltry pitching.
You may see a Reds trade piece pitch one of these weeks, too. One of these games after. You know they're going to trade for some pitching, right?
I would think. I hope they don't.
Reminds me a lot after the London series, right? You come home, you feel great. You got Philly, you got Cleveland, 2 solid teams at home. You got to find a way to win, and it became a disaster.
Wow, yeah.
The Cubs have a different opportunity now, but this is a different team now. And it's a different –
I hope so, yeah.
It's a different vibe. Cincy had a great weekend. You got to give them credit. They went in LA. They won a tight one on Friday, lost a tight one Saturday, and just blew the doors off them Sunday. But Marcus Stroman and Justin Steele aren't Michael Grove,
right.
who threw for Sunday. So it's going to be interesting.
Sheehan or whatever the heck.
On Monday night for me, it's about one man. It's about Marcus Stroman.
Yeah, it is.
This is a great chance for him to come back. This is the biggest start he's had in a Cub uniform. It's a matchup that, yes, this is a very difficult lineup because, you got De La Cruz at the top. McLein hits, Fraley hits, Friedel hits, Steer hits. They all hit, these guys. Benson hits.
They do.
But they're all pretty Votto. But they're all pretty aggressive, which usually plays into the hands of Stroh. And, they should hit their fair share of ground balls. Remember, this is the only team this year that really even roughed up Steele.
Yes.
And so they're tough. But like you said, it's probably going to be pretty hot. I actually even haven't checked the weather this week, so I don't know. But I would assume it's going to be pretty good weather. Ball should be flying out of there. It's a great opportunity, Matt. I think, in these type of series, you want to get out in the front foot, win game one. You got a fresh pen. They got a fresh pen. It feels pretty even. They're making a long trip, but they're young. The Reds are a team where they're so young, they don't even know what's going on in a good way.
Correct.
They're not going to be overwhelmed playing at Wrigley Field because they don't know any different, right? They're just going to be playing. But I'm really excited about it. I think this is a great opportunity for the Cubs to show a lot of fans that, said, oh, well, you only just beat the Sox and Cardinals, which I said on our broadcast today. I think that's just one of the most ridiculous things ever to say.
Yes.
It's the first. You play any team in baseball besides like Oakland and Kansas City 8 times in 11 days and win 6 of them. I'm taking it, and I'm really impressed.
Right.
And this team, did you see
won 6 out of 8? It's a lot.
Yeah. And did you see some of the plays that Arenado made in today's game?
Crazy.
I mean, holy mother of goodness. So
hopefully he gets traded Monday or Tuesday.
Yeah, well, it doesn't even matter at this point.
Matter now,
at this point, I hope he stays to help.
Actually, hope he stays. Right.
Yeah, but not for next year.
Son of a B, man.
But yeah, it's a great series. It's going to be electric. And that's that. If you're wondering where I'm leaning, I think the Cubs are going to play well this week. I do. I don't think the Reds are going to come in here for a second straight homestand and beat the doors off of them. I think Stroman's going to have a bounce back outing on Monday night. I think he's a prideful guy. He knows he's got to pitch well. And, hopefully the Steele thing, it's not just, the thing you hope is that it's not one of those things where, hey, the Reds just have their number this year. You just have to, you hope that isn't the case. And and we'll see. They're going to be ready to go, though. And the crowd, I'm sure, is going to be ready.
The crowd better be ready.
No, they're going to be ready.
Can I say that?
No, they're going to be ready.
Get on your feet. This is it.
And Boog and JD, it'd be nice to see them be ready. Like in the first inning, instead of like telling like a crazy story about Star Wars or something, because I know that's the week. Let's just say, hey, you know what? For the first time in our broadcasting careers as partners, we're calling an extremely meaningful late July, August game. So let's lock into it.
And welcome to the broadcast.
I don't care about like Ellie De La Cruz. I know that's going to be,
he's going to be plastered everywhere.
Boog's just going to talk about him nonstop. I don't care. I care about the team wearing the white uniforms with the blue pinstripes.
And I don't know. I don't think that's appropriate to talk about the opponent to that level. I don't.
No,
I think it's inappropriate.
No,
they should be fined if they do that.
No, they could do something.
Some penalty.
They could do something real special this week.
4 games. The Reds are in first place right now.
Yeah,
it depends on what the Brewers do against the Nats. But if you win 3 out of 4, you could potentially be 2 games out of first.
You win 3 out of 4. I don't even care what the Brewers do. You're feeling great.
Yeah, and a lot of people cite FanGraphs, and of course, I love FanGraphs. I think I was the only one on the Cubs online sphere to first bring up the clutch stat from FanGraphs.
Yeah.
But I got to say, Baseball Reference has liked the Cubs pretty much all of this year, despite the roller coaster.
Yeah.
And entering Sunday's game, Baseball Reference put the Cubs with a 53% chance to make the postseason. It was in the 20s last week, including 37% to win the division, which is the largest percentage to win the division by a single team. Cubs 37, Brewers 35. Reds 28. Let's go.
Wow, that's
For the people in the back, dude.
I would say my percentages would be to make the playoffs. I would say my number would probably start in the low 4s.
Okay.
And to win the division, it'd be probably in the mid to high 2s. So that's generous.
It really is generous, and it gets me jacked up. You know what also got me jacked up on Sunday? Some trade chatter. We had a little bit of that. Could a certain all-star closer who played with Ian Happ be heading to the north side? We get to that next.
Right.
We're back here on Locked On Cubs. Thanks for making us your first listen. We are the number one Cubs page on YouTube. We're the number one Cubs podcast on YouTube, number one Cubs podcast in the world. Thank you so much for your support. Sam and I really appreciate it. We're so thankful for you. Bruce Levine of 670 The Score and Marquee Sports Network connected the Cubs on Sunday to 1, a premier position player rental, and 2, a premier controllable relief pitcher in Heimer, Candelario, and David Bednar, respectively. Other names the Cubs have been linked to in official reports are Kyle Finnegan of the Nationals, Aaron Bummer of the White Sox, Brad Hand, and Brett Suter of the Rockies. And not officially in reports, but it mentioned a lot Sunday in the Cubs blogosphere were the Mets, Mark Canha, and Daniel Vogelbach. So trade winds have started, and the Cubs are officially buyers.
Yeah, I would say buyers to an extent. I am only interested in giving up some of our main farm system guys if it's controllable pieces that are going to help in 24, because you're in my opinion, I know Baseball Reference disagrees. You still, the odds that you're going to win it this year are very low, right? And that's just, I'm just speaking mathematically. So you don't want to sell out. Remember, the plan this year was we wanted to see a competitive team. And by gosh, are we getting it?
Yeah.
The window is supposed to start really opening in 24. So I don't want to, give up a ton of those guys. We have a great system. Some people are starting to say you're starting to hear top 5 buzz.
Yeah. Fangraph says the Cubs at second now.
But I am on board with adding a reliever. Especially a controllable one, but I'm even okay with a rental reliever as long as the cost isn't high. I am on board adding another bat if that means no more Mancini. With all due respect,
it would have to mean that.
Yeah, well, it would have to, right? The Bednar and Candelario stuff is interesting. You'd think if the Pirates are going to trade us him, the price would probably be astronomical. I bet you PCA's asked for him that deal. I don't think he would be, but he probably is. It's just unrealistic to me, but
David Bednar would do a lot of great things for this team.
No, he would.
He signed through 26.
Yeah. You'd be looking at like a 4-player deal there.
Yes, definitely.
So, it's interesting. My main thing is, I saw some people don't get angry at them if they don't make a blockbuster this year.
That would be wild to get angry at that.
Just improve. See if you can improve on the margins. For me, out of everybody you mentioned, the most realistic and affordable target that I think could help this team the most is Aaron Bummer. And the reason why is because they don't really have a lefty that could pitch late in games. Leiter Jr. is their guy for that.
Yep.
And Bummer is a ground ball machine. And he has really had bad luck over the years because the White Sox don't defend. So a lot of those ground balls are turning into base hits. I think I saw it today from somebody that, balls in play are like 345 against them. The Cubs, if you put the ball on the ground against the Cubs, you get 224. So, and this is a guy that I don't think he's going to cost much at all.
Okay.
And I think
he's controllable.
Yeah. And I think he could really elevate this team. Like, he's a guy where let's say you're facing Cincy on Wednesday night. You're up a run. It's the 7th, and it's De La Cruz, McLean, Fraley. So
right.
What is that? Is De La Cruz is a switch, isn't he?
Yep.
So switch, righty, lefty. I feel very comfortable with Aaron Bummer out there.
That'd be great.
And I think he could get a lot better. So that type of ad is what I'm expecting. They made it official that Bellinger's not going to get moved. I thought that was a little bit, I don't want to say premature, but because I don't want him to trade Bellinger. I just wonder, just let it, why take away the calls? You never know. You know what I mean? And
And
maybe it was
Strowman, for all intents and purposes.
maybe it was something where they just wanted to let the players know, hey, we see what you
Maybe,
do.
yeah.
Great job. We see what you're
Sure.
doing. He's not going anywhere. Maybe it was something for him mentally. I don't know.
Yep. Yeah,
But
for sure.
the Tuesday is going to be wild.
Yeah. You know what? We will do our production meeting off the air, but we will certainly be near our devices on Tuesday if possible.
Yeah.
And when the Cubs get David Bednar, we'll certainly put out an episode. I'll be Alzolay to Bednar in the World Series this year. That'll be very fun.
Well, no, I mean, if they were to add it's funny. I mean, I know people kind of have their opinions on this one way or another, but the guy I was clamoring for in the offseason and even in trade was Chapman. Could you imagine if they had him?
Right. He's been great with the Rangers already. That was an early trade.
First of all, he's lefty and he strikes out everyone.
He's up to 102 again.
No, that would have put them over. But we'll see. And also, it's going to be very interesting to see what Milwaukee and Cincy do.
And I won't be surprised. I know this is kind of dark to say, but I won't be surprised if they don't do anything of impact. And you almost root for that as a Cubs fan. But
Milwaukee's going to do something. I mean, they already have. They added Santana.
Yeah.
I think they're going to do another something. I think Cincy has to add a pitcher.
And the Reds have a couple major league pieces they could trade.
Yeah, like India,
Senzel. So we'll see what happens with that.
I think the Reds, if they don't add like a fairly not big name, but a popular name starting pitcher, I'd be shocked.
Yeah, not my problem.
Yeah.
So very exciting times for the Cubs, and we'll see what they do on the trade market as well. Shout out to the everydayers who are with us all 5 episodes throughout the week. And you could become an everydayer by checking us out each and every weekday. Not a secret. A lot of people have checked out the show for the very first time the last week. And we appreciate that you did. And we hope to stick around. Be sure to hit that subscribe button if you have yet to do that for Locked On Cubs on YouTube, and smash the like button for the algorithm. It is plausible that we could hit 5,000 subs by the end of this week.
Yeah,
Apple,
especially
Spotify,
if we keep winning.
I know.
Leave me, man.
Definitely a connection there.
De La Cruz hits a ground ball to second. It's going to be routine. 1 out.
I hope so. Apple, Spotify, where you get your podcast on the audio side, and streaming on SiriusXM. He's Sam Olber. I'm Matt Cozy. This is Locked On Cubs.